We're going to make your name or a special word in Graffiti, and this is what it's going to look like. We're going to go click on gallery, and we're going to open up our brick wall to start with. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go up to the right hand side to your color palette, and you're going to choose a bright green color. Click on the wrench, make sure that add is selected, and choose add text. Next, if your keyboard is not showing, click on the little icon to open up your keyboard, double click on the arrow pointing up to put on caps lock, and then you're going to type in your word that you are going to be graffitiing. Next, you're going to click on the arrow and then resize it with the black handles there, and you're going to center it right in your middle of your page or where you would like it. I think about that looks good. Next, you're going to click on the arrow. Choose a new color, and it's going to be a bright color. I'm going to go with yellow, and we're going to get rid of these colors so you don't need to worry if you don't like this color. Next, you are going to add a new layer, so go to your layers panel, and then above your word you're going to click on the plus. Choose a new brush, and you're going to go to either BJ Dell Cartooning. I like the Bold Inker Streamline. You can also find a similar one if you go down into calligraphy or into the inking panel. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one right here. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to draw around your letters, and you're going to make sure that you're not drawing right on the green letters but around it. So I'm going to draw right around in here, and it does not have to be perfect because this is just your rough draft. The size of your brush is let's see, I think I might bring it all the way up to around 50. So I'm going to undo what I've done. I'm going to try again, and I'm going to go around my letters, leaving some space. And if I come upon something like this where it's going to overlap, I actually like that. So I'm going to just imagine that my letter A is underneath my S, like so, and I'm going to do my middle of my letters there, and I'm going to continue around and do all of my letters, making sure I leave space. And once again, if I have where I need to go underneath, I'm just going to make it look like I'm going right around and underneath that T. Now, if you are having problems and you don't have a steady hand, ask me and I can come around and I can adjust your brush. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go up to my layers panel now, and I'm going to uncheck my text. Okay, and I just kind of want to check my lettering there and make sure. So I'm going to uncheck the brick background. It's still there, it's just hidden now, and I think that looks pretty good, but I think I might want to kind of clean it up a little bit more. So I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to change the color, this time maybe bright pink, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of clean it up and get it exactly how I want. This is where you can do really fancy artistic lettering. So I think I might change this. I might simplify this area right in here. So I'm going to go in and zoom in a bit, and I think I'm going to ink it in like this, and then maybe come around to like this. I like the way that looks. Okay, now I'm going to do the A. And I'm going to try something new. I'm going to go up like this, and then I'm just going to put in a letter or a line right in there. Okay, and for the I might do something clever, like making this an exclamation point instead of a letter I. Now for my N, I might try doing something more like this. So this is where your style is going to come in. What can you do with your letters? And you can make as many layers and tries as you need to clean it up. And you don't have to worry about, I think I'm going to redo that. Maybe come in here like that. You don't have to worry about that pink color because you're going to change your outline to be black anyway. Okay, so now I can go in and I'm going to hide the yellow layer. So I'm just seeing the pink layer. And I think that I like that. So I'm going to zoom in though. I'm going to check and see if I need to clean up any areas, fix any blobs, make anything darker. So maybe I might want to come in and just kind of change this, make this a little bit softer here. I see a little blob there, so I'm going to clean that up, and I'm just going to get it just right. Change my brush size there. Whoops, I guess I just undid that actually. I'm going to go in, clean up anything. If I have a little bit of a jiggly hand, what I could do is just go around, and then I'm going to hold. Let's do that again. Shrink that size down. I can hold that still until it gets nice and smooth. And that's one little trick to get that cleaned up there. Okay, so I think that looks really good there. Okay, so next step is I am going to go in and actually let's go over, change my color. I'm going to choose a black, and then I'm going to go to my layer that is pink, tap on it, choose select, go back to layers, tap on my pink layer, and choose fill layer. And now it's going to fill in with black. I like that. So now I'm going to swipe and duplicate. And I'm going to do that 4 more times so that I have 5 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top layer, I'm going to swipe 1 more time. I'm going to lock that layer, and I'm going to actually hide it for now. I am going to have that show a little bit later. Now these, you have a little bit of extras there in case you make some mistakes. This one, I can go ahead, I can delete that to just clean that up, and I'm going to delete that. Okay, now I'm going to go to this layer here. I'm going to choose my favorite color, the one that I want to be the base color for my lettering. I think I'm going to do like an aqua color here, some kind like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on layers, tap, choose select, go back to the layers, choose that second layer on the way down, there again, and now I'm going to fill the layer. So now it is that aqua color. Next step is I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it into the S. I'm going to continue filling. I'm going to tap all these. Notice that little line went away. I'll put that back later. And let's just drop that last one in. Oh, I think I'm going too fast there. Maybe it's frozen. Oh, there, it just caught up to me. Okay, so now just so that we can see what it looks like, I'm going to put that check mark back so I can see that it's outlined. Okay, so for right now, I'm going to tap on that layer, choose alpha lock. So now wherever I paint, it's only going to paint where the blue is. I'm going to now choose additional colors to make my gradient. So on the top here, I think I'll choose a nice blue color. Go and choose a new brush, and you're going to choose in airbrushing, soft brush. With your soft brush, I'm going to make it, maybe let's try size 25, and I'm going to make this sort of like an angle here. I'm going to fill in a lot with this blue. My next color, I'm going to choose maybe a magenta color. What you don't want to do is choose like an orange right on top of that blue. It might make it look a little bit muddy. So I'm going to go and choose that, maybe that pink. Go to my brushes. I'm still on soft brush. Now I'm going to add in some nice magenta color. It might be a little bit too much there. How about that? Looks nice. And then I'm going to choose one last color. You know, I think I might do a purple. Okay, and then spray that on the bottom. Now, that's not what it's going to look like. I'm going to go up to my wrench. And I'm going to choose, sorry, not my wrench. I'm going to choose my adjustment menu, Gaussian blur. With Gaussian blur now, you're going to take your pen and you're going to drag it across your scene, and you're going to change the gradient until you get it exactly how you like it. I think that looks good. So for me, 63% looked good. Tap on your wrench again. Now you're going to tap on your layers panel and you're going to add a new layer. On this layer, you're going to tap and you're going to make it a clipping mask so that everything that you do on this layer is going to stay here where I've already drawn. It's going to attach itself to this layer here. Now I'm going to choose a new color, and I think that I might make this color actually like either a dark blue or maybe even black. Now I get to add the fun textures on, so I'm going to go to my textures menu. There it is right here. And you can add in some cool textures. I'll go with this decimal texture, and I'm going to paint where I want that to go. Let's add a little bit more. I think I'll round it around like that. I'm going to add a new texture. Let's go with this diagonal lines here. Let's see, I might want to put those right in there. Okay, now what we can do is we can go back, and I'm going to turn on that top layer so I can see my outline. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so next thing that we're going to do is we are going to choose this one right here, this layer underneath my colored layer. So that you know what's going on here, so we could see what's happening, let's uncheck these. So those are just hidden temporarily. And I'm going to bring in this black and I'm going to drop it in and continue with the filling. I'm not sure why that's taking a while to catch up there. There we go. And I'm going to fill all of these in. Nice. Okay, going back to layers, I am going to duplicate that layer. On the bottom layer here, click on the N, and we're going to change our opacity. Let's go with somewhere like 25%. Now I'm going to turn back on my other layer so I can see what's happening here. This top black layer, click on that so it's right underneath your colored layer. Choose the arrow. Now I'm going to move my shadow. So here it is, and I'm going to put it right down here, I think on the bottom left, probably about right there. Tap on the arrow. Next, go back to the layers. This one that's underneath it. It's still black, but it's opaque. So I'm going to add just a little bit. We're going to move that down, and that gives it a little bit more pop there. Now let's head back to that first dark drop shadow. I'm going to add a new layer right above that. Go back to my brushes, and let's go back to BJ Dell Cartooning and Boulder Ink Streamline. I'm going to shrink my brush size down just a little bit here. And then what I like to do is go in and kind of connect these and make these a little bit smoother. So I'm just kind of attaching the shadow to the actual letter. And stuff like this, I'm just going to clean that up so it's not distracting. Go in here, I want to attach the shadow to the actual letter outline. And that makes it, I think, look really professional when you can attach those, clean them up a little bit. Okay, I think that looks pretty good there. All right, so now let's go back to that colorful layer. And what we're gonna do on this one is, actually let's go to the one with the shadows. Nope. Let's go on the colorful layer. We're going to add a new layer right above that. This is going to be for our shadows. Okay, so let's say we're going to click on the N and we're going to change the opacity. We don't want our shadows to be pure black. We want them to be a little bit lighter, maybe opacity of about 30% should be good. Let's try that. All right, and we're on, let's make sure that we're on the correct ink, and let's try, let's start with 50%ish and see how that does. And now I'm gonna think about, where are my shadows? My shadows are on the left side, so when I'm putting in the shadows on my letters, I also want them to be on the left side. And if you can see that, I'm just adding in that little shadow on the left side, and then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to put the shadow on the left side. This is also the left side, so I want this to kind of come around there. I have the left side of the letter A, so I'm going to go through all my letters, and you can, at the bottom of the letter, if you want, you can kind of curve it around. That looks nice. 2-finger tap if you need to undo. All of my left sides of my letters are going to get this treatment because they all have the same lighting. So I'm going to each letter, making sure that I don't miss any spots. Okay, that looks good. I notice this is a little bit distracting in there, so I'm going to go back to the layer 9 where I had my ink, and I'm going to add a little bit more ink back to there. Okay, so above my shadows layer, I am going to add a new layer, and this is going to be my highlights. So now I'm going to change my color to white. I want to make sure that I'm still on my inker, and this time I'm going to add my highlights, and you want to add them on the opposite side of where your shadows are, where the sun is hitting. I'm going to change my size here. Let's just try somewhere around 15 to 20 and let's see what that looks like. Oh, you know what? We need to add this one to the top. We're going to move this one right above it. Yep, okay. So make sure that your highlight is right all above your layers, even with your textures on it. Okay, and we are on our inker and about size 17, 18, 19, somewhere right around there. And we're just going to quickly go around and we're going to add in our highlights. I like to add in a little dot. And you can kind of add them where you think there might be a little bit of a highlight. And you want to make sure you're putting your highlights on the right hand side, away from your shadows. Okay, now we have two things to do that are left. We need to add drips and we need to add a little sparkle to it. So let's add our drips now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go above your top layer. I'm going to add a new layer and I'm going to select my black ink and I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some drips where naturally the paint would have dripped down. And when I do my drips, I want to not just add them like this because it doesn't look very natural. What you want to do is you want to make a soft curve here and you want it to connect gently, okay? And then you can add extra drips here. A little bit extra that dripped down there. Maybe that looks okay down there. Okay, and you can go along and you can add drips, but you definitely want to connect it. So that we don't have sharp edges there. And if you end up with a sharp edge, like here, you're just going to connect it gently. And you want drips of various sizes. And some of them are going to have little paint splatters coming off of them, and some won't. Also, in your brush menu, there are spray paint brushes. So you're going to click on spray paints. I like the drip brush, and you have to adjust the size and to see what you like. What is this size is on? About 35-40. And you're just going to tap and create this kind of a drip. You can tap to also have the splatters, so you can change where you're going to tap, so where your splatters are coming out. You can also change the size and maybe put a drip right up here. Oh, we don't want it to attach. There we go. Okay, so you add in all of your drips. Now, you're gonna add in one more layer. So you're gonna click on your layer panel, add one more, change your color to white. Your brush is gonna go down to luminance, and you're gonna click on flare. With your flare brush, you're gonna have to test out and see what size it is. So I just tested it out. That size was about 20. That works. And so I'm going to add in a little bit of extra sparkle right on some of these highlights. Not too many. Just in a few key places here. That's going to really add some sparkle to your graffiti. And then let's go back and turn on layer 1. So we could see what our background looks like. Whoop. And there you go. You've got all the layers, you've got gradients, textures, highlights, shadows, a little bit of sparkle, few drips, and there you go.